So this will be my third entry into DM Diaries, and I'm doing something a little different today. Normally I just ramble by myself for half an hour, and I don't know, today's a little different. I brought my lovely wife with me, Jenna. Why don't you say hi?
Hello.
And she doesn't DM, and she's a fairly new player. She's played in a bunch of different campaigns, but she's usually pretty busy, so she doesn't get to see them through. So I just want to get a new player's perspective on some things, and I thought there isn't really much of a better choice than Jenna. So let's begin.
Alright. Hit me with it.
So this is one that you actually came up with, this first one. So imagine you have something to say about it. It's things that trouble you as a player when starting a brand new campaign. So, fresh campaign, I imagine it's new players as well than your last one. And you're a new player. Or maybe you're not a new player either, you're just a player and it's a new campaign. What are some things that are worrying you day one?
Day one? Character building. I'll tell you what. It turns into 2-3 hours of character building. Nobody wants to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I'd say keep it simple because it is so complicated. And, okay, my character. Melvin Smithers, alright? I've had him since I was like 14 years old, and I've kept him consistent the entire way through. Why? Simple.
He's immortal.
He's immortal.
He goes through every
He's
campaign.
a god.
Every campaign.
Every single campaign. I just think there's so much to look at, and if you're not somebody who like goes through every single thing, it's just too complicated.
So you would say a new player, or just even starting a fresh campaign, like your character, even if they are complicated, you should have them like basically ready to go. Or if you are making a new character, like don't keep it simple, because if you make it too complicated, everyone's gonna be waiting for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or it's not. No one's gonna get it.
No, and there's so much to look at.
Yeah.
And it just brings you in a whole bunch of different directions, and even when you level up, like, that also takes time, because you have to, like, look through loads of things to pick something that's perfect for your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're a newer player, like, make a simple character.
Yeah, like, dumb it down.
Yeah.
Dumb it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, first campaign ever, I had a dagger. And another player had a dragon egg.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely that vibe of people who want to be, like, the main character.
Like, I got a butter knife, and Gale Dragonscale over here has a dragon egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Like, yeah, some people want to be the main character, and it kind of slows things down, and they don't really even understand what their own character is because they've complicated it too much.
Yeah, when you're at the point where you have to go back through and read loads of text just to find out what you picked for your character, that's troublesome.
Yeah. Save it for a more experienced player who has that shit memorized.
Yeah, exactly. Still on starting a campaign invested people, okay? I have a first-hand look at how long and how much effort you put into your campaign. So when I sit down at a table, somebody's watching a Smash tournament on their phone.
Hey, don't don't call anybody out. We'll save that, because that's kind of gonna come up.
All right.
But actually, this is also kind of related to that. People casting themselves as the main character. This is sort of related to that. How do you feel about players who typecast themselves into their characters? So when they make a character, you can clearly tell their character is just them, or it doesn't appear to be them, but then when they start playing them, like, they just act like they do. How do you feel with that?
Typecasting. I mean, it's just, I look at some of the people we've played with, and not to call anybody out, but, like, if you sit at a computer, just play online, you don't go out in the real world, you are playing a rogue or an assassin. You have no other options. You are isolated.
Which is weird because you play a rogue, but you do go out into the real world.
Yeah, but I don't really play a rogue, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the simplest character I can think of.
Okay.
And, you know, I try to do other things like healing, and I try to be, you know, one of the more invested players so that I can try to keep things rolling instead of sitting there for 2 hours, you know, getting nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that you say that because I find, like, just to narrow it down, just introverts in general usually play introverted characters, like thieves,
Yes.
rogues, even, like, sometimes, like, rangers, people who can kind of, like, hang back, don't have much to say, like, in-game. But then I find, you know, people who are very extroverted don't necessarily play extroverted characters.
No, not necessarily. I'd say they're more like bards or like paladins or something like that.
Yeah. I find, like, and honestly, I think most people don't play an extroverted character in D&D. I don't know if that's just because, like, they're nervous about having to talk a lot if they start doing that and they have to, like, keep it up. I just find that's interesting that introverts play introverts and then extroverts are kind of just like they'll play whatever. But it's usually not the leader.
They are introverted extroverts.
Introverted extroverts.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What would you say to those introverted people building characters? Would you advise them not to just play a rogue, or is it just best for them to play who they are?
I think it's best for them in that situation because then you're gonna have, like you said, like they're playing like a leading character, but they're never gonna lead.
Yeah.
And then again, you get back to going nowhere.
Yeah. So, introverts, stay in your lane.
Yeah, you know where you belong.
You know where you belong. That sounds mean, but it's with their best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not gonna like being the leader if they don't want to talk much.
Yeah, exactly. And why force somebody into that situation?
Yeah. All right. Well, that was an easy one to cover. This one kind of goes back to what you started talking about, something you don't like about the players. This is the opposite of that. We'll do the good part first.
Okay.
Because it's been a little negative so far.
Sorry, D&D.
Yeah, your favorite types of players to have in your party.
Yeah, characters who are invested and are present. And that doesn't sound like a lot to ask, but you'd be surprised.
Yeah. That's like your number one thing you like the most is
when everybody interacts together, you know, they're in character. They like, you know, some people like to do voices.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes it more fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine everyone at your table, you know, they're all invested, they're all, you know, their phones are turned off, they're all, like, focused on the game, they're all, like, you know, they're all role-playing. What is the next thing you look for in somebody that you, like, appreciate when you're playing with them?
Not purposely screwing us over. Like
for, like, a joke or something?
Maybe a joke or even steering our campaign in a whole new direction that it really shouldn't be going.
Okay.
Staying on track.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Not, like, as a real person, but because in my previous video I talked about, like, how to be a good player, and that was the type of player I came up with was, the devil's advocate, the person who always wants to do the opposite of everybody else and, like, wants to lead the party astray from what the DM clearly wants to be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, because I see how much effort you put into what you do, and it's frustrating when people, you know, instead of investigating a town, they burn it to the ground. Yeah. And that's just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, you've been there. So you like when people just kind of, like, ride the rails of what is clearly laid out.
Intended, not necessarily be very linear, but, you know, like, not derail us.
Yeah. Okay. So you like players who cooperate with the DM, basically.
Yeah. It just makes for a better session, and it just makes it 6 hours doesn't feel like 6 hours when you're all cooperating.
Yeah. And it probably won't end up being 6 hours if you're all cooperating. Usually it goes longer because
you're just messing around. Yeah.
There's no direction being taken. Okay. Well, cool. So the two most important things to you are people who are agreeable and want to follow what is laid out before them instead of just, like,
Exactly.
dicking around, and then also people who are invested in the game.
A good session, you're sad when it's over. A bad session, you can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah. And then I guess this is like, you basically already covered this, but I'll just say it anyway. Your least favorite type of player to have in your party? You kind of already said, but...
Already said it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the thieves. Don't even
Thieves?
get me started on the thieves. Like, why are you trying to steal from your own party? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. It's tough to pick a thief and then have a justifiable reason to steal from your own party.
Exactly. You need money, dude? Just ask.
Yeah. Like, even the character I'm playing in my buddy's campaign, like, he's a thief, and he's, like, kind of a kleptomaniac in some ways, but he never, like, even though, like, it would kind of be in character to steal from the party, he still doesn't, and I don't ever steal gold from people. I will, like, gyp people out of their gold. Like, I'll say, like, hey, like, give me your gold and I'll double it, like, at a casino, and that's not really stealing, but it's kind of a way to do it, like, without being blatant about it. But yeah, I think you shouldn't steal from your party, unless, like, under any circumstance, unless, like, the DM and you have a private conversation, like, hey, you should steal from this person to, like, as, like, a story beat to develop something, or maybe your character turns out to be evil.
Yeah.
But usually, I think, like, 90% of the time, it's the wrong thing to do.
Or, loot something and lie about it.
Yeah.
Taking all the loot. It's just really selfish when you're supposed to be working together.
Yeah, I agree.
Irks me.
It irks you?
It irks
Does
me.
it grind your gears?
It grinds my gears.
Alright. This one's kind of weird. I wasn't sure if you really know how to answer this because we've been playing online for so long. But it's just, what's your favorite way to play D&D? Because you've basically played it every way you can. You've played it with miniatures, you've played it with just paper and pencil, you've played it with hand-drawn maps, you've played it online. What's your favorite way to play it?
In person.
In person?
Yeah. I'm very much of a visual person, and even though, sure, you have maps on the computer or whatever, I still find it hard for me to focus just because that's who I am. I'm not trying not to be focused, but it's harder.
Yeah.
When you're not all at the table, rolling the dice. It's not the same as clicking a button and watching dice fly across your screen.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you prefer in person, like, with a map and everything, or just, like, paper and pencil and dice?
I mean...
Do you need the miniatures and the maps and stuff?
No, I don't really need it.
Yeah?
Just being in person is enough.
Nice. Classic style.
And, you usually give a pretty accurate description of what we're trying to vision anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a concise answer. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that too. I think most people would prefer to play in person with, like, a battle map to put the pieces on. I don't think Theater of the Mind is for everybody, and I can totally understand that, but it definitely... I definitely prefer... I guess it depends on who your players are, right? Like, I think most people would prefer to have a battle map you can put pieces on, but I'm definitely comfortable with just doing Theater of the Mind as long as, like, the table is, like, I can trust them to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing with people who have a very short attention span and get distracted easily, Theater of the Mind is not the way to do it because they're going to tune out from what you're saying.
You're tuned out. They're ordering a pizza.
They're ordering a pizza, yeah. Pause game. Pizza's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a few of our sessions.
Early days, yeah.
Early days. Pizza, chips.
Pizza, yeah, everyone's got greasy fingers at the game.
Oh, yeah.
This one's kind of a general question, and I know you're still a new player, I would say, because you've never had, like, long sessions. You've only ever played, like, a few sessions and then had to drop out, usually.
I feel like I am an eternal beginner, because
you can't escape beginner status.
I have started a multitude of campaigns. I have never finished a single one.
Yeah, I think most people haven't finished a campaign, which is kind of sad to say, but it's just, it's a tough game to consistently play with the same people, the same days. But you definitely haven't got very far in any campaign.
No, I think the furthest I've ever gotten is level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty sad, honestly. But good old Melvin, he's been with me.
Yeah, he's basically level 20.
He's basically level
the amount
20,
of times
but...
you've leveled him up. Yeah.
But in different campaigns, he's level 1, 2, and 3.
1 through 3, yeah.
He's like an internal Genin.
So you're still a new player, but, and I guess this is why I think this is a good question for you, is what advice would you give new players? Either players who have never played the game before and they're just starting, or players who are just thinking about playing it and they don't really understand what it is. But what would your advice be to those like brand new players?
I think that pretty much goes back to what I said at the start, is keep it simple.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you start complicating it, you're going to need help from people, from, experienced players,
they're
or probably the
need,
DM in this case.
They're probably going to need help anyway.
Well, yeah, they're going to need help, but you're going to need more of it if you complicate things and keep notes. Because I doubt you're, like I said, I've started a lot of campaigns and I haven't finished a single one.
Yeah.
So I keep notes to remember what happened in previous sessions, so I know what I'm going back to.
Yeah, I guess, obviously, yeah, like if you're a new player, like don't overthink it and like keep your things simple. Mm-hmm. Maybe be willing to have the DM create you like a pre-made character, even like just a simple, like level 1 pre-made character. I guess what I would say is, go into it with an open mind. It's probably not going to be what you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because D&D is more about just having a social environment to like hang out with your friends, and then the game comes second, typically. There's nothing wrong with like really focusing on the game and like playing it correctly and like optimizing your moves. Like that's fine.
I wouldn't go into it with expectations.
Yeah, don't go into expecting like to get something unique or like specific out of it, because every session's gonna be different too. Like,
yeah.
Like,
don't expect to get stuff done because in my experience, you don't.
Yeah, and especially as a new player, like those first few sessions you have are gonna be the slowest, because you're gonna be looking over the rules a lot. You're gonna be asking a ton of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do this? Can I do that? You're not gonna be sure if you're even like allowed to like do certain things.
Exactly.
Because like I don't think new players realize that they're the ones in control of the game. The DM isn't. The DM is just kind of like, moving the pieces around.
Like a narrator.
And, like, narrating, like moving the goalpost in front of them so they can hit it. But they're the ones like doing everything. They have full control of the game. So, yeah. I think that about wraps it up. Do you have anything that's like on your mind, or anything that you think a newer player could glean off of your experience?
I feel like I've just been like crapping on D&D this whole time.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
that's alright.
Been sorry.
Well, that's because you've had bad experiences with D&D.
Yeah.
Not all the time, especially recently. They've been good for you. Like the campaign that you were in with me last. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
But from your younger days, when you were first getting into D&D, when we would have like 7-person games, which is I don't recommend going over 4, unless you really trust your players. Then you can kind of do it. But we were having like 7-person games.
7, sometimes 10. Like
no, it wasn't 10.
Oh, we've had like
3 of those people were just on their DS, not playing though.
No, I know, but like it was technically a 10-person session, and a bunch of greasy teenagers in a basement.
Yeah, I said in my previous episode, there's no way to play D&D like wrong. It's just about having fun with your friends.
Yeah.
But I do think if you go to play D&D with your friends in a basement and there's 10 of you, that is the wrong way to play, because I'm pretty sure like half those people aren't really going to be playing, and that's going to ruin your fun. Just trying to put up with people wasting your time. And I guess that's like kind of their fault for not like respecting your time to some extent, but you should also see that coming. I guess that would be my... Yeah, let's give one final nugget of advice, and I'm stealing that one. If you're a new player, I'm going to give a final nugget of advice, and then you give one.
All right.
And I'm stealing the one you just said.
Okay, well, that's not... Okay,
so if you're a new player, and you want to play D&D, that's fine. Find a DM who is willing to, like, ease you into it. And then, don't invite all your friends to do it. Like, it's not going to be... You're not like sitting down with all your friends to watch a movie. It's very interactive, and you need to be tuned in the whole time. and it's like tiring. So if the more people you have, the more exhausting it's going to be. So like I would say cap it at 4, and make sure you trust all your friends who are with you to like respect your time. And it can be a lot of fun. It'll be some of your best memories. You can get from playing D&D. You have any final parting words, Jenna?
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
You know, you don't want to be getting up 20,000 times. You know, water, pop, food. Just have it ready.
Yeah, come prepared. Yeah.
And if you're in person, have money on you, because you know somebody's gonna be wanting some money for pizza.
You know someone's gonna want that pizza money.
They want that pizza money.
They do be wanting that pizza money, though.
Well, you only pitched in $5. Here's your slice.
You
See
got
you
one
later.
slice. You got one cold slice of Little Caesars.
One slice, one pepperoni.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Jenna.
Yeah.
All right.